The beautiful girl has a sexy figure, but is indeed a perv. She would blindfold herself, making the male protagonist feed her snacks. In the hot summer, she eats instant noodles cooking on the stove until sweat soaks her clothes. The reason why she eats snacks in these very tempting ways is that she wants the male protagonist to fall in love with snacks. Can she achieve her wish? Let's see. We are first introduced to the male protagonist Kokonatsu, a teenager living in a small town. His dream is to become a cartoonist. Kokonatsu's father runs a Dagashi shop. Dagashi is a collective name for snacks that are classic, cheap, and come in many styles, making them very popular with small kids. Kokonatsu's father wants him to inherit the Dagashi shop, but Kokonatsu just wants to pursue his own dream, which makes his father very distressed. One day, a beautiful girl, Hataru, suddenly comes to the Dagashi shop. She also turns out to be from a rich family that runs one of the largest snack companies in the country. She is here to invite Kokonatsu's father to join her family's company. Hataru herself is also an avid fan of Dagashi. Since his father is absent, Hataru chats with Kokonatsu for a while. She asks him what the best Dagashi is, and before Kokonatsu can answer, Hataru speaks her thought that the king of Dagashi is umaibu, which is a stick-shaped snack made from rice and has a lot of flavors. Kokonatsu then adds, umaibu with different flavors can be eaten together, through which you'll get a brand new flavor. For example, if you combine cheese and octopus flavors, you'll get a cheese octopus umaibu. Moreover, grilling will give umaibu another unique flavor. Kokonatsu knows many unique ways to eat it, which surprises Hataru. Kokonatsu's father soon returns to the shop. Hataru immediately hands him her business card and invites him to join her father's snack company. However, Kokonatsu's father rejects Hataru's invitation, saying that he will not leave the Dagashi shop until Kokonatsu decides to inherit it. Therefore, Hataru decides to stay in the town until she persuades Kokonatsu to inherit the shop. Kokonatsu has two great friends, Saya and To. They are twin siblings of the same age as Kokonatsu. Saya has always had a crush on Kokonatsu, so when she heard that a beautiful girl has come to the town, she instantly becomes nervous, worrying that Kokonatsu will fall in love with Hataru. Bothered by this, Saya, who works in a coffee shop, brews Kokonatsu a cup of coffee that is too sweet, but Kokonatsu drinks it all, and he even praises Saya's coffee-making skill. Kokonatsu's performance makes Saya no longer nervous, but very happy. On her way home from work, Saya meets Hataru, who accidentally falls into the farmland, covered in mud. Saya invites Hataru to her house to take a bath, but her brother, To, doesn't know about it, so when he returns, he goes directly to the bathroom and sees Hataru's body. Saya immediately punches To and apologizes to Hataru for his behavior. Hataru kindly expresses that she doesn't mind it. Later, Saya treats Hataru to coffee. In the process of getting along, Saya discovers that Hataru, despite her slightly strange personality, is actually a very kind girl, and they become good friends. Since the income of the Dagashi shop is not high, Kokonatsu's father often works part-time while Kokonatsu takes charge of the shop most of the time. When Hataru comes to the shop that day, she offers to have some adults fun with Kokonatsu, who misunderstands Hataru's words and instantly gets blushed. But in fact, Hataru means to drink beer together. And what she meant is not really beer, but a kind of solid drink, which tastes much like beer when dissolved in water. It doesn't contain alcohol, so even children can drink it. However, Hataru seems to be drunk after drinking it. This may be because of her psychological effects, but also indicates that Hataru is weakly resistant to alcohol. Then, Hataru falls asleep as if drunk, so Kokonatsu has to take care of her until she wakes up. The next day, while Kokonatsu and Saya are chatting, they hear a whistle-like sound. It turns out that Hataru is eating a type of candy called ramen candy, through which people can blow whistles. To attract kids, snack manufacturers often make their products able to be played with while eating, and the ramen candy is one of their designs. Besides, the various Manko cards that come with snacks are often seen. Children like to collect the cards, and they create a game with the cards. Players will take turns using their own cards to flip their opponents, and if they make it, they'll get the cards they flipped. Kokonatsu, Hataru and Saya decide to play this fun game together. Among them, Saya is the best, winning easily. Hataru is so excited that she even recognizes Saya as her master on the spot. It is a hot day today, but Hataru suddenly turns off the air conditioner at the Dagashi shop, because today she wants to have budamen, which is great for replenishing energy and salt after sports. In order to mimic the heat when exercising in summer days, Hataru even uses a stove to boil water to make the budamen. To Kokonatsu's surprise, To is actively involved in it as well. In fact, To's intention is to see Hataru's clothes becoming wet and transparent after sweating, and he got what he wishes. However, Kokonatsu can't stand the heat, so he turns on the air conditioner anyway, which unfortunately breaks down. Therefore, Kokonatsu has to store the easily melted Dagashi in a shady warehouse, leaving only other snacks in the store. Among these snacks is a dessert named Fagashi made from cereals. With Fagashi, Hataru offers to play a game. With the eyes blindfolded and hands tied, one of them will have to guess the brand of the Fagashi the other feeds based on its taste and texture. Kokonatsu thinks the game is very interesting and agrees to join. Hataru is the first to guess, and she quickly determines the brand of the Fagashi because she is familiar with its shape. Then Kokonatsu also eats a piece, managing to figure out its brand based on the taste. In the end, the game draws a tie. Hataru feels thirsty after eating too much Fagashi, so she goes to buy cold drinks. Just then, Kokonatsu's father returns to the shop, only to find Kokonatsu blindfolded and his hands tied. He mistakenly thinks that Kokonatsu and Hataru are engaging in some strange intimate acts, leading immediately to avoid interrupting them. Soon after, when Kokonatsu and To are chatting at a coffee shop, Kokonatsu paints Saya and Hataru, but To thinks the painting does not present their characteristics. Subsequently, he modifies it to highlight the figures of Saya and Hataru. When Kokonatsu returns home, he suddenly remembers that his painting was left in the coffee shop. If it's seen by Saya, she will certainly be upset, so he immediately runs back to get the painting. Learning of it, Hataru proposes to go with him. She even takes out a box of candy called Glico to share with Kokonatsu. It has a slogan saying that one caramel contains the energy for you to run 300 meters. Hataru and Kokonatsu then rush to the coffee shop while eating Glico, but halfway through, Hataru lacks strength, so she gives the rest of Glico to Kokonatsu, who can get recharged and continue running the rest of the way. Unfortunately, Kokonatsu is one step late. Saya saw the painting before he arrived. In the end, Kokonatsu is taught a lesson by Saya. Although Kokonatsu often helps out at the Dagashi shop, he doesn't get paid for it, so when he runs out of pocket money, he can't help but complain that his father is stingy. Hearing this, Hataru mysteriously whispers that she knows a good way to make money. All of Hataru's topics are about Dagashi, and it is no exception. Many brands will promote their products by designing some lotteries. Some prizes can be getting a copy of the same item for free, while others directly offer cash. Hataru believes that it's going to be an efficient way to make money if he continuously involves in the lotteries. Kokonatsu knows it is unlikely to win the lotteries, but Hataru is confident that she can figure out the secret of winning. Of course, Hataru eventually fails after opening many bags of Dagashi. She doesn't want to admit her bad luck, thus getting a kind of candy in packs of 3, one of which is particularly sour. Hataru shares one pack with Kokonatsu and To, believing that she won't get the sour one this time. However, a hapless Hataru still gets the sour candy. Disappointed, she leaves the Dagashi shop. Among the wide variety of Dagashi, there are some which can also be played with. For example, some gummies are designed in special shapes so that children can play with them before eating. We see Hataru take out some string gummies up to 60 inches long and uses them to play some games with her friends. Saya again stands out in the games, surprising Hataru many times. After the game, they just eat the gummies, followed by Hataru taking out some glass marbles. A very classic toy for kids. If you hit a marble with yours, you get the marble. But, the space between the two marbles must allow your pinky finger to fit in, or it doesn't count. Since Saya never played the game, Hataru is confident that she can beat Saya this time. However, the new gamer Saya easily beats up all of them. Her talent for gaming is really enviable. Saya wins the most marbles among them. Looking at the shape of the marble, she can't help but think of the time when she played with Kokonatsu during her childhood. At that time, there was a kind of yogurt candy that had just hit the market. Because it was packaged like medicine, it was often used by children as a prop in role-playing games. That day, she and Kokonatsu played the doctor-patient game with the candy. During the game, they even mimicked doctors performing surgery on each other's abdomen and chest. Therefore, Saya and Kokonatsu have touched each other's bodies often. Gradually, Saya developed a crush for Kokonatsu. After Kokonatsu examined her, he pretended to be like the real doctor and gave her yogurt candy as medicine. Now Saya has grown up, and she feels embarrassed every time she thinks about it. She thought Kokonatsu must have forgotten about it, but to her surprise, when Hataru takes out the yogurt candy, Kokonatsu instantly flushes, which makes Saya realize that Kokonatsu also remembers the past. The most lively events in this town are the various festivals. Every year at the festival, Kokonatsu sells manjiaki with his father. At the beginning of the festival, Kokonatsu spends some time with friends. They first target at a katanuki stall, which offers them different amount of reward if they manage to cut out the different patterns on katanuki. Some of the patterns can be complicated, so it is not easy to complete it, but Hataru practiced it many times at home, so she successfully completes the most intricate pattern, winning the highest reward. Later, To also joins the game, and after hard work, he succeeds in cutting out the pattern. Just as he is about to claim his prize, he accidentally falls, causing his sugar pattern to shatter. To is very disappointed. After that, Kokonatsu begins helping his father with manya, while Saya also comes to the festival. Kokonatsu's father has noticed that Saya has a crush on Kokonatsu, so he asks Kokonatsu to accompany Saya first. It just so happened that To is curious about making manya, so he takes it over from Kokonatsu. Kokonatsu and Saya then stroll at the festival, eat a lot of snacks, and try goldfish catching, which requires customers to use a spoon made of paper to pick up the goldfish. And once the paper breaks, they have to pay for a new one. Saya remembers that when she and Kokonatsu were children, they also played the game. At that time, Kokonatsu spent all his pocket money and did not succeed in catching a goldfish. But in the end, the vendor gave one to him, while Kokonatsu gave it to Saya, who still has it in the fish tank. Today, Kokonatsu once again failed to catch a goldfish, and the vendor also gave him a goldfish, which he hands to Saya, just like what he did when they were little. As sweet memories fill in their mind, the festival ends here. A few days later, the town goes out of power and the atmosphere is perfect for telling horror stories. So Kokonatsu, Hataru, Saya and To take turns revealing the horror stories they know. Saya is particularly afraid of such stories, while Hataru loves it. There is a kind of bubblegum with all kinds of short horror stories printed on the wrapping paper, and thus Hataru has collected a lot. I gotta say Dagashi companies really know about marketing. Next, we're introduced to another interesting toy kendama, which helps improve agility and reflexes. It looks simple, but is actually difficult. To even accidentally injures himself while playing with this toy. Just then, Saya happens to pass by. She sees the kendama, picks it up and plays it skillfully. She seems to be good at almost all kinds of games, including kendama. This frustrates To, who keeps practicing and still can't play it well. The reason why To practices it is that he wants to attract girls' attention as kendama gets re-popular recently. After failing a few times, To decides to find another way. He gets popping fortune-telling chocolate, which has patterns representing yes or no on the package. And you can think of the questions before popping it. Whatever is shown is the answer to your question. We see To asks if he can meet beautiful girls, and then pops a piece to see yes. In the next second, Hataru comes to them. It seems this childish stuff tells an accurate future. Hataru is an avid fan of Dagashi, but eating too much Dagashi can cause some health problems. On this day, she suffers from a mouth ulcer because she ate too much Dagashi. But it doesn't stop Hataru from eating Dagashi, and she deliberately picks a pack of Pop Rocks for today. Hataru thinks eating Pop Rocks when having a mouth ulcer is quite exciting. Although it makes her mouth hurt more, she feels especially comfortable when the pain is over. Then, Kokonatsu comes back, only to see Hataru holding a bowl of rice. Kokonatsu is confused. Why would Hataru eat rice in the afternoon? It turns out that Hataru is having rice with pickled daikon. In many regions, pickled daikon is sold as Dagashi, but in her hometown, it is generally eaten as a side dish. Therefore, Hataru believes that there must be a bowl of rice while eating pickled daikon. Finishing the pickled daikon, Hataru takes out an ice cream packed in a balloon and needed to be squeezed out to eat. But because Hataru left the ice cream at room temperature for too long, it has melted. When she bites it, the balloon bursts, and her clothes are instantly soaked. Seeing Hataru covered in melted ice cream, Kokonatsu feels both excited and shy. After that, Kokonatsu is surprised to find that Hataru hasn't visited the Dagashi shop for 2 days, which makes him a little worried because in the past, Hataru spent most of her time here. So Kokonatsu and Saya come to Hataru's house to visit her. To their surprise, Hataru's family actually built a mansion in the local area for Hataru. Amazed by this, Kokonatsu first gets a sense of how luxurious the life of a rich family can be. When Hataru opens the door, she looks very alarmed. Before Kokonatsu can figure out why Hataru reacts so violently, he finds her with a fever. To comfort Hataru, Kokonatsu brings a pack of Dagashi, but instead of being pleased, Hataru rejects the gift. Surprised, he quickly asks Hataru what is going on. Hataru then reveals to them that she caught stomatitis because she had been eating Dagashi when she had mouth ulcers, which eventually worsened. So she can't eat Dagashi for the time being. Learning of that, Kokonatsu finally understands why Hataru was reluctant to see him. Seeing him would make her think of Dagashi. Sure enough, Hataru can't help but want to eat the Dagashi brought by Kokonatsu. Luckily, Kokonatsu and Saya together stop her. As the alarm rings, Hataru says it's time for her to take the medicine, which looks quite strange in Kokonatsu and Saya's eyes. It turns out that Hataru added various solid drinks to the medicine to make it less bitter, which makes them feel speechless but amused. In fact, ever since Hataru came to town, Kokonatsu has wondered why Hataru wants his father to join her company. Kokonatsu believes that his father, although a good man, has no special skills. Therefore, Hataru takes Kokonatsu and Saya to hide in the Dagashi shop to observe the merits of Kokonatsu's father. In a small cardboard box, their bodies are inevitably close to each other, which makes Kokonatsu and Saya very shy. They observe for an hour, but Kokonatsu's father does not show any merit other than eating Dagashi all the time. Finally, a little boy and a little girl come to the shop to buy Dagashi. The little boy does not bring enough money, but he wants to treat the little girl to snacks. So he buys a Dagashi that can be raffled, and if he wins, he will be able to get a free copy of the same snack. However, he failed it, causing the little girl to be disappointed, and the little boy is also embarrassed. Just then, Kokonatsu's father takes the bag of the Dagashi and tells the boy that he actually won the lottery. He then gives him another pack. Obviously, the little boy did not win the lottery, but Kokonatsu's father gave him a snack so as to help him resolve the embarrassment. Kokonatsu's father not only loves Dagashi, but also shows a warm heart. Hataru thinks he's the best Dagashi manager. After this, Kokonatsu finally understands why Hataru wants to hire his father. Kokonatsu knows that Hataru has always wanted to transform her family business into a food company that produces Dagashi, but she needs the help of Kokonatsu's father. However, his unwillingness to inherit the Dagashi shop results in Hataru having to stay in the town while unable to fulfill her dream. He feels guilty for it. To suggests that Kokonatsu go directly to Hataru to have a talk. So Kokonatsu goes out in search of Hataru. It is raining heavily, and as he is sheltering from the rain at a bus stop, he comes across Hataru, who takes out a box of fruit candy to share with Kokonatsu. While eating the candy, Kokonatsu talks about Hataru's dreams and the guilt he feels. But Hataru tells him that she will stick to her dream regardless of whether Kokonatsu's father joins or not. And the reason she stays in the town is no longer to recruit Kokonatsu's father. More importantly, there is the best Dagashi shop, accompanied by Kokonatsu, Saya and To. She indeed has a good time here. As Hataru finishes words, the sky suddenly clears, and Kokonatsu no longer feels guilty after that, because he now gets that for Hataru. A happy life is the most important thing. A life as simple and sweet as Dagashi is what she really wants. That brings the end of Dagashi Kashi. It's a very interesting story based on Dagashi, a popular traditional snack for children, who are unlikely to eat this kind of snack anymore when they grow up. So for most people, Dagashi is an important memory of childhood. But in this anime, Kokonatsu, Hataru and others never stop loving Dagashi even though they are already teenagers. This love fills their lives with childlike joy, which is perhaps the reason why they love Dagashi. Here I want to ask you a question. What was your favorite snack in childhood? Please leave your answer in the comment area. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I will bring more and more interesting anime recaps. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.